We're back with another dose of common knowledge, the show where I take a look at 10 common Magic the Gathering cards and tell you are they any good in the Pauper format or not. We will continue on and see what our first card will be today. It is Undergrowth Leopard, 1 and a green for a 2/2 cat with vigilance, and you can pay 1 and sacrifice this creature to destroy target artifact or enchantment. I liked this guy a lot when I was playing Tarkir Dragonstorm Limited. I had an Abzan deck the first time I played. Then I think I went Teamer my second pre-release, and this guy was an integral part to both decks. You know, at common, really easy to grab a copy or two of this guy, and it's just nice to have a Grizzly Bear with vigilance already, like a decently statted guy that also can just naturalize something at instant speed when you need to. So I like him. When it comes to Pauper, I like him a lot less. I think this is a really nice cube card, or going to be a really cool thing for jumpstart kind of sets or jumpstart kind of packs. If you make your own jumpstart packs, I think this is a really good one to put in some kind of green deck. But when it comes to like real deal Pauper, I think you're going to find that you're going to use more of the troublemaker oofs and things like that will exile, or you're just going to use the spells that can do it at instant speed, and you don't have to worry about putting a creature on the table. Or you're going to use like Cathar Commando or something, and nobody really plays Cathar Commando either, but Cathar Commando is at least a flash speed creature that can then sacrifice itself to deal that naturalize. So that's also used a little bit more because it is kind of an instant speed thing. So this card, I think, is kind of a bummer in Pauper, but I just like the card generally. I think it's a neat card. I'm gonna give this thing a 2.7. No, I'm gonna give it better than that. I'm gonna give this thing like 3.2. In fact, I think it deserves to be up with the threes. I feel like I give too many twos, and it's because most cards at common are just pretty bad. But this one's actually pretty good. I kind of want to bump it up even higher. I think I am. I'm going to bump this up to like a 3.5. I'm liking this card more and more, and it is just a generally solid card. Yeah, 3.5. I feel better about that. Airborne Aid is a card I like so much, but it's really bad. 3 and a blue for a sorcery. You draw a card for each bird on the battlefield. Yours and your opponent's. Keep that in mind. Is your opponent playing a bunch of birds? Probably not. You know, if they're Orzhov Blade or something, they have Glinthawks. Okay. That's maybe 1 or 2 birds you can get, but or Battle Screech, those are birds. So mono white weenie deck, you could get some cards off of that. You probably have to be playing birds though if you're going to play this, and it's one of those things. It's a lesson I learned relatively early in my commander building career, but you hear, I don't know if it was a YouTuber, it had to be a YouTuber. Somebody said, I cannot remember who, but somebody said, you look at some cards, and just because they say words that are synergistic with the deck that you're building, or the commander that you're building, or the other cards that are in that deck, just because they have synergy with them, don't mean that they're the best options. And it did kind of click with me at that point. Am I playing this card that has the wizard creature type on it just because I'm playing a wizard deck? Or am I playing this because it's the best slot option for what I am trying to do with this deck? And sometimes being a wizard does count enough. Or in this case, sometimes being a bird or having a card that cares about birds, and you already have a deck that is putting out tons of birds, maybe this works. But sometimes, even if you're the bird deck, would you rather just play a instant speed spell that draws you a couple of cards instead? A guaranteed couple of cards. Because this card does nothing if your opponent doesn't have any birds and you don't have any creatures. Or if you don't have any birds. I guess you could have other creatures that aren't birds. This card does nothing. It rots in your hand. But the card that draws you 2 cards, the Divination that always draws you 2 cards, the Of One Mind in Pauper that always draws you 2 cards, those are, on average, better than Airborne Aid. Airborne Aid is really good when you jump through a lot of hoops or fly through a lot of hoops in this case to make this good. But it's so much effort to make this good. It's rarely worth it. You shouldn't play this card. It's a bad card. I'm going to give it a 1.4, but it is a beautiful card. I really like this era of frames for Magic. I think these frames are awesome. Like the 7th edition frames, especially when you get the 7th edition foils. Those are so gorgeous. And these Onslaught, when you do foils for these Onslaught cards, they're also really gorgeous too. So, man, some really nice looking cards. But and the art's fantastic on this too. But it's just not a good card. What did I say? Did I give it a score already? It's like a 1.2, 1.3. It's really bad. Really bad card. Cut In is 3 and a red for a sorcery. Cut In deals 4 damage to target creature, and you create a young hero role token attached to up to 1 target creature you control. A young hero role token is if you control another role, put that one into the graveyard. You can only have 1 role at a time on each creature. Rather, you can't have a monstrous role and a young hero role on one guy. You can only have the 1 enchantment token. But anyway, enchanted creature has whenever this creature attacks, if its toughness is 3 or less, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So I would say of the role tokens in Wilds of Eldraine, Young Hero is kind of one of the worst because it eventually turns off in a way that the other role tokens don't. The monstrous role token is always going to give you trample. I forgot which role gives you Ward 1. There's a bunch of roles that will always do something. When you attack, you scry 1. I think that's like the wizard role token. There's these roles will always do something for you, or at least give you like always a +1/+1. And if you have a creature who already has 3 toughness, and now you put a young hero role token on it, it never gets a +1/+1 counter. It doesn't do anything other than adding to your enchantment count or adding to your token count. And maybe that matters to you. Maybe it's something that you can bargain away with your Troublemaker Oof. But for the most part, I don't like the role token here at all. So now you're paying 4 mana for 4 damage to a creature at sorcery speed. And I think that's pretty bad. Yeah, I don't like this package of abilities. I'm going to give this thing a... it is a removal spell that does take out a good chunk of creatures. So you kind of want to give it a halfway decent score for that. But of those cards, you have so many better options than this. I'm going to give this guy a 2.4 and keep going. To Shadow Feed, which has some rad art. A single black mana for an instant. Exile target card from a graveyard. You gain 3 life. Yeah, it's at instant speed. It's really cheap. You could screw up your opponent's day with this if they're in a dredge deck and they're trying to exhume one specific card. Okay. Or dread return one specific card. You just have better graveyard hate options. You even have graveyard hate options. Like, yeah, this gains you the life, but I think there's one. I don't know if it's in like a Modern Horizons 1 or 2 set, but it has flashback on it. So you exile the card and then it has flashback so you can exile another card later. I'd play that before this. It might even like make a 2/2 Decayed Zombie or something. I might be throwing a couple cards together at that point, but there are better instant speed exile a single card from your opponent's graveyard effects than this one. Yeah, it's a single mana, it's instant speed, the 3 life's all right, but you should play so many other cards other than this before you even consider this. I will give this thing a 2.2, I think. I really don't like it. Sphere of Purity, 3 and a white for an enchantment. If an artifact would deal damage to you, you prevent 1 of that damage. From Mirrodin. I played a lot of Mirrodin. I had a lot of Mirrodin cards. I do not remember this card. I don't think I've ever owned a copy of this card. And it's a common. You'd think I would have gotten it. This is fine if your opponent's playing a ton of artifact creatures, but I'm trying to think of non-creature artifacts. I don't know if you're hearing those sirens that are going on across the street. But I can't think of a bunch of non-creature artifacts that are dealing a lot of damage to you in Pauper. I mean, I'm sure there are some that you could think of and that are maybe okay. But I guess this is mostly working against artifact creatures. And I'm trying to think of the artifact creatures that this really hurts, because the biggest creature, not the biggest, I'm sorry, but the most frequent creatures that this is going to really help you against are the 1-power ones. Because, yeah, you know, if somebody's got an 8/8 artifact, yeah, it's preventing 1 of that damage, but that's still doing 7 damage. And that's 7 damage to you, by the way. Like, this doesn't say if it would deal damage to you or a creature you control. So all your creatures still take the exact same amount of damage. So this is only really affecting when you're letting a creature through for damage on you. So you're getting to max value when it's blanking an opponent's creature completely, and that requires them to only be dealing 1 damage. So how many 1/1 artifacts are there that really get used in Pauper all that much? How many little token artifact guys that are 1/1s are really getting through? I don't know. Like, Refurbish Familiar, I guess, but that's a 2/1. So yeah, it's doing half damage at that point. That's something. Your Mukatai Ambushers, 3/2 lifelinkers. So now they're only doing 2 damage and they're only gaining 2 instead of 3. I mean, okay, I'm seeing some slight scenarios, but do I want to pay 4 for a card that effectively does nothing on the turn that I play it? No, I don't. That's a real trap right there, and this trap is going to get a 1.6. You don't want to spend 4 mana on that. Next up is Armored Whirl Turtle, 2 and a blue for a 0/5 creature turtle. This sucks. And I'll tell you why this sucks. Aegis Turtle. 1 mana for a 0/5 turtle. Why am I paying triple the price for the same thing? Why is this 24 cents? And this is 9 cents? And it's 3 times as better? 3 times as good? This is a 1.1. Or no, this is a 1. Just a 1. Just a 1. I'm not even going to go to point. It doesn't deserve it. I would give it less than a 1 if I could. This is terrible. You shouldn't even play this in your Turtles deck. You have so many better Turtles to play, especially now that TMNT is out. But even more traditional Turtles. This thing's terrible. Fairy Invaders, 4 and a blue for a 3/3 Fairy Rogue with flying and flash. Okay. 5 mana is a lot. 5 mana is a lot, and we certainly have Fairies decks in Pauper, but they just don't need this guy. You can play so many cards in Mono Blue Fairies for 5 mana. You never really want to hold up that much mana just to put down a 3/3 flyer. Especially not in that deck that's wanting to ninjutsu those fairies back to your hand. This is bad. This is just really, really bad for that. I'm going to give this a... even with flying, even with flash, I'm still going to give this like a 1.7 because it's really trappy. I feel like I've been using trap a lot lately, but like this is, if you put this in your deck, you have wasted a slot in your deck, and you're going to waste a bunch of mana putting this on your battlefield. Yeah, like a 3/3 flyer will eventually win you the game, but lots of things can eventually win you the game, and they don't cost 5 mana. This sucks. Yeah, 1.7. I don't know if I marked it down already or if I just marked it down a second time. We'll do a bonus card anyway. Mycosynth Wellspring, 2 mana for an artifact. When this artifact enters or is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So kind of a take on Eager Wellspring, which draws you a card when it comes into play or goes to the graveyard. That card's great. It gets used all the time. Jund Wildfire and things like that. This card, you guarantee a land, which is okay, but I think most of the time I'd rather just draw the card. And this doesn't put the land on the battlefield, so it's not ramping you at all. It's just drawing you specifically a land. It is the specific land you want. You're getting, it color fixes you. That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, I would just play Eager Wellspring, and then if you're in blue, you play Cryptic Cryogen Relic. You just have many better options than the Mycosynth Wellspring. Still a really cool card. It has a secret lair version. Oh right, I remember these. Yeah, it's okay. If we didn't have Eager Wellspring, I think people probably would end up playing this for the card advantage, even if all it's getting you is a land. You might still see it be played in Pauper for the extra value, but with Eager Wellspring, I've even seen people stop playing as many copies of Eager Wellspring or stop playing it altogether because Cryogen Relic is just so much better, and you're just finding other artifacts that's powering out a card like Eager Wellspring, which is a very well-loved card. I'm still going to give this thing a 3.5. It's a pretty solid effect. We just have a couple of cards that are way better than it, and that's why it never gets played. Take Vengeance, 1 and a white for a sorcery that says destroy target tapped creature. That's an incredibly normal white ability, but it's okay. You know, at sorcery speed, that's a bit of a bummer, but this would be probably too good. It certainly would be too good if it was at instant speed. Although, actually, what about... Oh, what is this called? Spring loaded saw blades. Like that has this is a uncommon card, so I'm not talking about this for Pauper, but this is also 1 and a white for a thing that has flash. So it's essentially instant speed, and it deals 5 damage to a tapped creature an opponent controls. So 5 damage versus a destroy effect. I guess that is a bit different, but you know, the saw blades do quite a bit and do a slightly better impression of Take Vengeance than Take Vengeance does sometimes. I don't know. This is okay. The art's really good on it, though. I like the art. Actually, let me see these other arts. Same art the whole time. I will give this a 3.3. Decent removal spell. You have other removal spells you'll play before it. Rhizome Lurcher is 2 and Golgari, black and green, for a 2/2 fungus zombie with undergrowth. This creature enters with a number of +1/+1 encounters on it equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Okay, that could be, 4 mana for a 2/2, not very good. But in dredge style decks that are putting tons of creatures in the graveyard, and this thing can be 4 mana, I don't know, 7/7, 4 mana 8/8 maybe. Even bigger, potentially. That's pretty cool, but it is still just a vanilla creature that can get really big. I think the dredge decks just have a little faster, a little bit more impactful creatures than this, and they'll play those instead. The sirens are doing some weird stuff out there. Yeah, I'm gonna give this thing I think I'm just going to give it like a 3.1. It is nice that you can get some really big creatures out of the deal, but overall, I don't think it really moves the needle too much in a Pauper match. Let's do a bonus card. Gift of Granite, single white mana for an enchantment aura. It's got flash, chance a creature. Enchanted creature gets +0/+2. I've always loved the art on this one. Really, really fun Future Sight card that I remember having and playing copies of during Time Spiral Block. It's not particularly great. It's a holy strength without the point of power, but you do get flash on it. just saying that made me go like, this kind of sucks. The art is undoubtedly the best part of it. But yeah, I don't think this is particularly good. I will give this a 1.6, I guess. And I think we call it there. Thanks for joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one. See ya.